Debbie Lariviere, and we have Coach Brian Bursell here today, one of our longest standing Middleton Elite Coaching coaches. Super excited to have Brian here today. And why I wanted to bring Brian into this conversation is because he has this amazing exercise that he's going to share with us today that he has personally used to propel his business forward, as well as his coaching clients and take them to different levels and purchase different properties and all kinds of things. So first of all, I have to apologize for the thunder in the background. It kind of sounds like Garth Brooks, the thunder rolls over here, but if you get any type of noises that way, it's real. It's not inserted or artificial. So Brian, let's get started. Tell us a little bit about this outcome exercise that we've used as a team and you've used as a coach.
Sure. So this is a process that I've used in my own personal business. And when I work with new coaching clients, it's an activity. It's one of the first foundational things that I like to ask a client to take on. And essentially what we're trying to do is create something more than a task list and something more than just goals that are maybe in our head, and translate those goals to more of a blueprint for success to propel your business forward. I call it my outcome board. There are different names for it. This is a combination of it's a tool that I use. It's a combination of things from different successful people that I've either listened to or have been mentors for me. And in this tool, this is different from your day-to-day, task list. This is something different from maybe your big dreams or your big goals. This is what I, fondly call my get shit done board. And so I ask my coaching clients to come up with 5 things. I ask them actually this first step is to purchase the biggest whiteboard that they can find. And so some folks are whiteboard people. Some folks that I coach are more digital, and they'll prefer to go and use a spreadsheet. But I like to have a board, and I like to have it in my office, and I like to have this stare at me every single day. And I encourage my coaching clients to do the same thing. And so what are we talking about with the outcome board? Well, this is a board that we're going to take the 5 things that are most important to you to propel your business forward. Okay. And so maybe it's a system that's missing in your business. Maybe it's something that it's a component that you must have to move your business forward, or maybe it's it's a wish list item that you actually want to get it out of your head and actually make happen. So I started using this board. I started running about 10 years ago, and I had this dream or a goal of running a marathon. And when you start, and think about running 26 miles, for most people, myself included, it's kind of a daunting goal. And so, what I found was I really had to write down the steps. And that's really where I got started with this, is to chunk things down into manageable steps. And again, I started with, the outcome is I want to run 26 miles. And then I went back and I just filled in the details of what do I have to do, to accomplish that. When you run a marathon, there's an end to it, right? So if you say that you want to run a marathon and you want to run that marathon in 3 months from now, 90 days, you've got 90 days to get your training in. You've got 90 days to get the right footwear. You've got 90 days to plan your training runs. So mapping it all out was extremely helpful. So I started with it, with just marathon training. Then I moved into how do I use the same process for my business? And a few years ago, my family decided to move from Rhode Island to Wilmington, North Carolina. And at the time I had a real estate team, a growing real estate team. I had my own real estate business. I owned several residential investment properties. I was in the process of flipping 2 homes. In addition to, I've had children that were active in high school. a wife who had her own career. So a lot of things going on. And, again, the goal was to move from Rhode Island to Wilmington, and we gave ourselves 18 months to kind of accomplish that. I used this board to map out the things that were most important. How do I move from, and what I did was I categorized my business. So I had a real estate business. What has to happen with that real estate business? I had my investment properties. What has to happen with the real estate investment properties? I have my own house to sell. When do we put our house on the market? So I use the board to kind of propel me from Rhode Island to Wilmington and try to make it as successful a move as we could with the least amount of impact to our business, setting up a business in Wilmington before we got here. And again, making this process, the nice thing about having things out of your head and on paper, it was easy for my family to see where we were going. So what were some of the critical dates, why we were doing things. The other part to this is purpose, right? So anything that when you think about your 5 things that are going to propel your business forward, they need to have a purpose. They need to have meaning. It has to, resonate with you, why you have to, why is it that this component of my business needs to get done? So from there, we've refined it and we've taken it to a point where I ask my clients, to start with the 5. And then I ask them to really think about what's success. So what does success look like in those 5 areas? So, a good example of that is on my own board here, I've got a team event. So for my real estate business here in Wilmington, I've got a team event planned. Success for me means 75 attendees at the event. And what I've done is I've mapped out on my board all of the steps that have to go into us getting 75 people to this event. Once we've kind of managed, we've been as detailed and specific as we can about the steps to get to that outcome. The next or the third step here is to write down the by-when dates. By-when dates are the critical dates that have to happen. When, by when does this have to happen? Does this task have to be completed? Once we've gone through and we've mapped out all of the by-when dates to get us to the sort of quote unquote finish line, I then ask my clients, the 4th step is to look for leverage, right? So a lot of us, myself included, I consider myself a lone wolf, and I'll go out and if I'm given an outcome or a task, I just put my head down and I go out and I just plow through it and I do it. But I found a better way to do it is to look at some of the tasks and think about who do I have in my life to help me with these tasks. So not everything has to fall on my shoulders. There are some things that I can delegate, and there's certainly things on my board that I can delegate, and I identify who I can delegate those things to. That doesn't mean that if I delegate it, that they just fall off the board. That just means that I can delegate that task to someone else, and I still have to follow up to ensure that that task gets done. But I think, one of the components when I first started with this was it was all on my own. I've learned to bring in help and find help where necessary to help me, move. Again, the goal here is to move the business forward and to hit the success mark for that outcome. The next step, which would be the 4th step, is to create your metrics, is to say, all right, if I've got this board and I don't want to spend 8 hours in one category in a given week. All of us are busy. We've all got different priorities, different things that come into our lives. And so, what we want to do is commit to, and this is one of the foundational things we talk about in coaching is the win the week. So we come in on Monday and we say, I'll have won the week if I knocked off 3 to 4 things on my outcome board. So I look at the by-when dates and I say, all right, well, I've got 3 of them coming up that need to get done. I commit to putting them into my calendar. I commit to time blocking to ensure that they get done. And then I do a midweek check-in, usually Wednesday, Thursday. We all work 7 days a week. So sometimes your midweek is Wednesday. Some folks it's Thursday. So we do a midweek check-in just to see, am I tracking? Am I checking off the things that have to get done? If I get to Thursday and I've done nothing on the outcome board, but I've done everything else, I've done things for clients, I've done inspections, I've done CMAs, I've done all the other things for everybody else. And what I call the busy work, those are the things that we have to do to kind of keep our business. Those are the maintenance items just to keep the business running. But if I've done nothing for growth, then I need to readjust my plan for that week. And I really need to pivot on, ideally I like to look at this, mid-afternoon on Wednesday and kind of change my week up and say, all right, well, I've got to, I can't let the entire week go and do nothing. And there are going to be times I tell my coaching clients, not to get too hard on yourself. We are going to have weeks, I call them 0 weeks. So 0 growth weeks. And they're going to happen, right? They're going to be vacations. Things are going to happen with the kids. There's illness. There's all different things that are going to get us to what I call a 0 week. A 0 week is okay. 2 0 weeks is not okay. 3 0 weeks is we're doing something wrong. So I encourage my coaching clients to think about, to come in, have the win the week plan, make a midweek audit and assessment, pivot if you have to, if you're like me and you like to see the check off, the check marks, get them done early, time block for them. And then, the whole goal here is to not spend hours of time in any one thing. It's to take a task here, a task there, put them into our calendar and get them done. So that's essentially the outcome board. And I'm happy to share, my board or share some of the planning that goes into it. But this is one of the tools that I think it's a foundational tool. It goes right along with Win the Week. It goes right along with time blocking in growing your business. I find often that a lot of the folks that we coach get so busy and in the weeds on just getting, the maintenance things, keeping the business running, and they're not getting up above the line. And, this process has helped some of my coaching clients. I've had one coaching client purchase an investment or / vacation property in Hawaii. We've used this process to help my coaching clients think about and prepare for a 2-week vacation. I always challenge my coaching clients. First thing I ask is, when are you going to take a 2-week vacation? The only way you can take a 2-week vacation when you're self-employed is if you have systems in place and you have plans and you're prepared. And so this is a great tool for those type of bigger projects, not just, getting through the week, not, hitting a home inspection, not meeting a photographer. This is moving your business forward by chunks and through a plan, getting it out of your head, getting it onto paper and having a blueprint to do that.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. This is great. So just to recap the 5 steps that I jotted down. 1 is, what are the 5 things, right?
Yep.
2 is, what are the steps that we're going to take? 3, by when. 4, leverage or who. And 5, measure it. Just always measure. So,
yeah.
I think about these different steps as you were talking, and one key thing sticks out to me. A lot of our agents out there who are working on growing their business and working to maybe build teams or continue to grow or transition out of the business is that key leverage piece. And I always go back to any task that you're doing, like you mentioned, home inspections, photography, CMAs, that sort of thing. You have to ask yourself, do I have a business or do I have a job? And to differentiate between the two, to have a business is to have someone to leverage a lot of those day-to-day tasks to, so that you don't have the job, which will free you up to do a lot of those things on that outcome board. Definitely.
Right.
I think this is an amazing tool. I love that you were able to share this with us. So again, focusing on our mid-year, a lot of you have really, really optimistic pieces of paper in your drawer or on your computer called your goals for 2022. And what we would do is encourage you to pull those out, use the resources we offer, create your outcomes board, and go win the next 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, wherever that is in the future. Like Brian said, his move to Wilmington wasn't a fast one. So just continue chunking it down, get those people around you excited, and go win everything you can personally and professionally. So thanks so much for joining us today, Brian.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too.